Cannot believe it, everybody. This just got really serious. Really serious. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Oscar Ramos, your host, and in this video, so happy and blessed to have you with the Cronos fam. This conversation has to explode because right now I'm here, so I haven't posted it right now. I'm not inside, but I'm looking at the price, 5 cents, everybody, and I'm listening to this tweet space that I'm gonna show you right now. Charles Hoskinson in the call, CC was in the call, Ben Armstrong, Bitboy was gonna be in the call, and there's just people flooding crypto.com left and right. Like, it's getting really bad, everyone. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you, when I hear them speak about crypto.com, let's go ahead and do it together and listen to this together. Welcome aboard. Like the video, subscribe right now. Let's get everybody on board right now. I'm waiting for Charles to speak, but I want you guys to listen. And we have no time. Let's go. Price going down.
If you're going to be a centralized player in this decentralized space and you're not going to display things on chain, then you can expect to be very highly regulated. And to be honest, after seeing all these systematic failures, I think we should all welcome that. Like, the truth is, if you want to be a centralized exchange, then if I'm going to put my money on a centralized exchange, I want to know that the exchange is very heavily regulated, and the exchange is showing proof of reserves to governments and to users and to whatever else. If you want to be a decentralized player in the space, then the chain and the smart contract is enough, because that basically governs what can happen. And the truth is, I know in crypto we're a libertarian movement, and I know in crypto we all say we don't want regulation, we don't want KYC, we don't. Guys, we've seen what happens when we don't have regulation. When we don't have regulation, we let human emotions of greed take over. And that's what got us here in the first place. So I think let's break this world into a centralized world and then into a decentralized world. You want to be a centralized player, you're going to get regulated, very highly regulated. And that's going to be great news, because consumers are going to be, investors and consumers are going to be safe, and institutions are going to feel comfortable to give us capital. But if you want to be decentralized, like a Uniswap, like all the other protocols, well, then what's written in your code and what's written on your smart contracts is law, and consumers.
And this is where me and Kim disagree earlier. Like, I've always made that point, Ron, in that regulation is there to control the imperfections of human nature. Now, whether code could replace that, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just going to be a very long-term, difficult experiment. And obviously times like this show that experiment still has a long way to go. No, fuck, I'll repeat what I just said. This is an experiment on why centralization is not good, but also decentralization doesn't seem to be adopted in the right way. I will say just quickly, I want to say two things, man. I'll give you the mic, and I see Kim unmuted as well. Number one is I want to go deeper into the story that went viral yesterday in that the tweet. So we had I'll repeat for anyone that doesn't know the story. And that's an executive at one of the top exchanges came up to speak on stage, and she was very transparent, credible. A few people verified her, and she was speaking transparently, sharing a pretty interesting story about how, and you know, recent events kind of show that most of it is true, but how, what was it, Sam and 3 Arrows and Luna. Sam, I'll try to remember what the tweet said, but Sam caused Luna. And then a lot of people in the community went to Happy, and then he forced 3 Arrows to where it is today, to bankruptcy. And we've got Zusu here as well, who retweeted this. So I'd love to get his take on it. And then whoever's unmuted, I'll ask you, Ron. And then CZ was not happy, and CZ confronted Sam and started getting a sense of all the shenanigans going on. And then when he knew how, and when Sam ignored him and didn't take his feedback, his advice, CZ made that tweet, which leads us to where we are today. So that's the story I want to dig into deeper and understand how intertwined that web and how far back it goes and how everything's connected. So if Jusu from 3 Arrows wants to come up and shed some light, be great. And then the second thing I wanted to say is I forgot, so I'll give the mic to BitBoy.
Okay,
BitBoy's
let
coming.
me-
No,
let me- let me
BitBoy's
say
coming
one
in, and BitBoy's coming in an hour and a half, guys. To give us.
Yes,
go ahead,
less than
Chet.
an hour and a half now.
Just real quickly, guys.
Mario,
Fred
would you agree
Garlinghouse
just
and
very,
Amanda
very
Sear
quickly,
are.
okay, what you
Fred.
said about
So quickly,
us
Kim,
disagreeing.
Fred. So quickly, 2 seconds, Kim. Did you say Fred Garlinghouse is in the? He wants to come up, Charles.
Yeah, Brad Garlinghouse from XRP and Amanda Sear from Avalanche are here.
Okay,
If you guys want to invite
Charles
them.
Hoskinson.
Yeah, DM Brad.
There you go.
Yeah, if you can send me through their username, please, Charles. Just DM it to me, and I'll find it anyway, and I'll bring them up. I'll do it now. Kim, sorry, go ahead, Kim.
Fantastic. So really quick, what Ren just said, I'm totally in agreement with, and I don't have a disagreement with you, Mario, about regulating exchanges, right? What I have a problem with is over-regulating blockchains or users of crypto. Sane users don't use exchanges anyway. That has to be our goal, to educate, crypto users to not use third parties and not trust third parties, right? So when it comes to regulating exchanges, I'm totally on board with you guys. I think that the centralized exchanges are going to be pivotal, certainly for the next 5 and maybe even 10 years, in becoming the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 and Finance 2 and Finance 3. So I know, the crypto OGs and the people that are very comfortable in the space, we're all cool to use a Uniswap or a 1inch or whatever the decentralized exchange is. But the truth is that the average user is not going to use it. And so I think that the centralized exchanges for the next 5 to 10 years are actually very pivotal in this space, very, very, very pivotal in the space. And they need to be highly regulated. I do want to make one more comment. Yeah, well, they got to be regulated like financial institutions and maybe even more because it's a new kind of technology. You don't need to regulate decentralized applications because the contract itself specifies what the regulation is. What you can regulate is you can regulate in the country, and you can say, for example, like in South Africa where I live, it's illegal to take money out of this country. You have to have a special application to take money out of this country. It's called foreign exchange controls. And so, if users in South Africa interact with exchanges and send money across the globe, they're committing a crime in the individual country. So each country can regulate money flow in their country like they wish. I do want to just touch on what you spoke about with a tweet that was then deleted, and it was around Zusu and Sam Bankman-Fried and whatever else. There was always a lot of smoke every time something went down. There was always a lot of smoke around Alameda Research. So when Luna collapsed, speculation was that it was attacked by Alameda. When Three Arrows Capital collapsed, speculation was that it was around Zusu. And to be honest, I've seen some screenshots. I can't verify their accuracy, but they seem pretty real. And the source that gave them to me is also pretty real. And in those screenshots, Zusu claims that Alameda attacked them. You may also recall a while back that CZ mentioned that their exchange was actually being attacked by a market maker of sort. And then, without saying too much, because I have direct contact with these people, but when one of the lenders went down, one of the prominent lenders in the space, and I don't want to mention names, but you guys can put 1 + 1 together. And I try to make contact with members of this lender because these were friends of mine and they were people that were regularly on my shows. And the people never said anything. The only thing that they sent me was something around Sam and SBF and Alameda attacking them and causing the unwind. So it wouldn't make any. It doesn't surprise me at all to think that these guys were using their exchange and their market making abilities and their knowledge of what's going on to attack counterparties that they were doing business.
All right, so I want to chat if you can put everything together into a tweet of what Ron said and kind of follow up on the last tweet. I do have an announcement that we could probably get Mick, the ex-chief of staff,
Mick
to come
Mulvaney.
on tomorrow.
Maybe Mick Mulvaney coming in, everybody. Charles Hoskinson is here. Cece spoke earlier.
I'm gonna try to organize
bunch of stuff. CEO of Ripple is here.
Brad Brad's in the house.
You have
Brad,
to
we spoke
listen
a
a
lot
lot.
about
This is
Ripple
insane.
yesterday, and we've got also Satvik from Circle as well on stage.
Please
Would
go
love
ahead
your
and
take
like
on
the
what's
video,
going on,
everybody.
man.
Subscribe to the channel if you want to. So let's
Well,
get more people in the house. Some more people
Sorry,
right now. Let's go,
I'll
everybody.
go Brad first. Go ahead,
Give us
Brad.
those likes.
Okay.
Let's get more people here learning.
Thanks for letting me join in. I'm a crasher and just mostly a listener here. I think, like a lot of people, I was maybe surprised. You know, I think there had been a lot of noise in the industry about FTX and Alameda, but still was quite surprised how quickly things unfolded. So, you know, hard to know what are all the facts right now, at least for me, and following along. I think it's shit for the industry for sure. I did speak to Sam last Wednesday, I guess, in the kind of like, hey, how can the industry help? The one thing I'll say about that is just some of the things that were being tweeted and some of the things he said on the phone didn't match, which made me feel like kind of using the Elon Musk, my bullshit meter just kind of was going off. But I don't have any great, brilliant insights. I think that the one big unknown that I think we should also be watching for and careful about is it clearly will be a call to action for segments of regulators who are going to say that, like, this is what's wrong with crypto, when in reality, this isn't a crypto specific problem. And in fact, as I think people here have, or people on Twitter anyway, have commented, you know, the SEC was actively meeting with Sam, and you know, in some ways, it really isn't that dissimilar than the SEC, you know, spending all their resources on things that aren't a problem and completely missing the Bernie Madoffs, and in this case, you know, what appears to or is alleged to be pretty egregious. And I think the likelihood is, unfortunately, Sam's going to end up in jail, or what some will say, fortunately, but whatever.
Hey, Brad, do you want to talk about the SEC case? Give us an update.
Sure. I mean, you know, everything that people are kind of talking about, I think it's
He's
pretty
the
up to date.
CEO
You know,
at Ripple.
The motions
CEO
for
at
summary
Ripple.
judgment will be fully briefed by the end of November. And, you know, then it's before the judge. I remain, the library case, I think people are saying
this is a really tough
It just-
moment
it
for the
doesn't really
industry, guys.
compare both
We'll
in
have
terms
to
of their
stand
legal
together here.
strategy and the
We'll have to
facts.
support together here.
There's a whole bunch of things that,
Not because of
you
the
know,
failure
are
of
just
one
very,
bad
very
actor,
different about them. And
FTX,
so,
the entire industry has
you know,
to
I think
collapse.
that gave the SEC something to crow about. I will also say, and you know, maybe there's people on this listening right now, I mean, to get 14 amicus briefs in support at a district court level, like, it's unheard of. We were trying to find, it might actually be unprecedented, but you know, when this whole shit show started with the SEC, you know, I think I tweeted out, you know, in December of 2020 that this was an attack on the whole industry and not just an attack on Ripple. And I think, you know, candidly, a lot of people called bullshit, like, that's not true. And I think it's been really refreshing to see the industry kind of come around to understand that, like, this, how important this is. And so I could give a thanks to all those out there that have been supportive and kind of seen that come around.
Hey, Brad, how do you mark XRP on Ripple Labs' balance sheet? Is it mark to market?
Zero.
You mark it 0.
It's 0. It's not on our balance sheet.
Is that what you think how it should be done with all these companies?
I don't know. I mean, like, again, facts and circumstances, and you know, I don't want to opine on how other people should do it. You know, Ripple has no debt. For all intents and purposes, we've never had any debt. We've got $1 billion of cash. You know,
so who owns the XRP in Treasury for Ripple Labs? Which entity owns the XRP?
Well,
that you have on the Treasury?
Yeah. Ripple Labs, the parent company. I'm all the things I just said with regard to Ripple Labs, the parent. So,
yeah,
you know, I mean, where it sits in a particularly subsidiary or something like that for structural reasons, is kind of irrelevant for that purpose. But
does it get factored into your equity value when raising finance? The number of XRP on the balance sheet.
Well, we haven't raised. I mean, that's not a question for me to answer, right? Because I'm not the investor. You know, it's somebody coming in to invest in Ripple would make a determination on all the assets that Ripple has. We have a rapidly growing business. We own a bunch of cash. We've invested over $500 million in over 60 companies across the crypto space. Some XRP related, some having nothing to do with XRP. So, you know, I'll let others opine on that. You know, we haven't raised money in a long time. The last private money we raised was at a $10 billion valuation in 2019, I think that's right.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm actually one of your shareholders. You may not know, but the from a long time ago. But the the XRP on the company balance sheet across the whole group is marked at 0. It doesn't factor in.
We're at 5 cents, guys.
How do you account that?
We are at 5 cents.
Well,
because you do sell a lot of
practically
those XRP,
the lowest.
Those are sold into the market.
Why? People sell enough
some only to
fear,
customers. You're paying close attention. We repurchase the vast majority of what we sell.
It is what it is.
And when we sell it, then
me
it's
show you.
marked at the price it's sold. That's revenue from an accounting.
Look at this garbage.
Look, I think
look
for
at
me,
this
as I just step back and look at what's
garbage.
going on in the industry. Ripple
What
has
a
always
massive
taken
garbage
a very,
this
very, very
is.
transparent view. I mean, I don't know when we started doing a quarterly XRP market
Sell off
report,
immediately
5,
because
6
people
years ago.
think that
I think
crypto.com is
FTX,
next.
Whether it's a whole bunch of other examples, I think
Wow.
all of us could work on transparency. And
To me,
some of the haters and some of the FUD that gets spread around,
counts.
don't live in glass houses, right? Some of the stuff I see said in contrast, where I think even talking about this openly, about how much XRP we have sold to customers, how much is repurchased, we put it all out there, like it's all transparent. And that's not because we have a regulator telling us to do that. It's because we think it's the right way to run a business.
And what percentage of the revenue is XRP sales?
It's a significant percentage. I don't know that we've ever publicly broken that out. Again, the point I would make, just because the nature of the question is, we repurchased the vast majority of XRP. So this is not we're very long-term bullish on XRP. This is not
we are listening to the CEO at XRP.
The opposite. But
major players are in this call. Charles Hoskinson is here.
Would that cause some market manipulation?
It's insane. CC was
here.
No,
well, I mean, I guess
if Chris from crypto.com comes, it's over.
Conversation has
I'm
from,
not
hey,
leaving
make
this seat.
The industry more healthy.
Will they come?
Could that be
Will
market
they
manipulation?
come?
I mean,
no, sorry, Brad.
I don't know what the fuck.
On you, but this is
I'm literally calling in, being totally transparent about exactly what we're doing. Everything I just said, we've been public about it. It's in our XRP markets report. The point I was trying to make, whether we look at proof of reserve
questions. So.
Apologies, Brad. We've asked just to give you first hats off for coming on stage, and just asking the tough questions. But I appreciate you answering them.
No, I don't even view it as tough questions. My point is, you can go read that, right? Like, I'm not. You don't need me to even I didn't read our XRP markets before getting up here, so I can't cite the exact data. But frankly, it was Sunday morning, and I just decided to dial it. I was paying attention to Twitter, and it's like, oh, I'll listen in. So, anyway, look. I think what has gone on in transparency helps everybody. Transparency is our friend, and that is true. It has been at the core of blockchain technologies, and I think there's just a lot of companies that have acted, kind of not consistent with that. And I think the more we can be transparent, the better.
I've got one more question quickly for you.
Sorry, one more. What advice would you give to the companies?
All these crypto leaders,
token,
everybody.
Value on their balance sheet. How do you think they should manage selling those tokens without causing issues when they're trading against their consumers or manipulating prices? How do we stop that?
Transparency. Look, I mean, there's a kind of well retweeted clip of me on stage with Joe Lubin at the World Economic Forum a few years ago. And, frankly, Joe's going after me about some of the same questions you're asking me. And I said, wait a minute, Joe, how much ETH does Consensus own? He wouldn't answer. How much ETH has Consensus sold? He wouldn't answer. So look, transparency is our friend. And I think I would challenge the whole industry just to be more transparent, whether you are Consensus and you own a lot of ETH, and I think to this day we don't know how much, or you're a project like Library that just has one. You are the token. I think transparency is our friend.
Brad, I wonder if you would be as transparent if you weren't regulated in the United States. I think it's all good and well to say, transparency is our friend. When you're living in a jurisdiction where, if you're not transparent, then that could count against you. But the truth is that, many of these token companies are established in jurisdictions that aren't very regulated, in the BVIs, in the Canary, I don't know, there's all these little islands. How much of that is because you're forced to, and how much of that is because you think it's the right thing to do?
Well, look, I mean, we're a private company. We're not forced to do I mean, when I talk about the XRP markets report, and again, we started that, I think it was in 2016, maybe it was 2017. We're not required to do that. We're choosing to do that. We chose to do that a long time ago because we embrace, like, this is the right way to run a business, not because any regulator told me that.
And the question I have for you, Brad, I couldn't unmute earlier, and I've asked this for every person that we consider to be a leader in the space. We have a lot of regulators listening. We could have a notable regulator as a special guest tomorrow. What would be your message to them? A lot of people listening to this live right now.
Leaders of the crypto industry, regulators, the United States, the world.
Well, I think, I guess my first, let's make sure we understand.
Will be awesome if we have crypto.com joining here with us. That will be amazing. So they don't have to, right? But it will be amazing.
Focused on for the industry, really because of the SEC's actions, has been, let's be clear about what is a security.
Just know, guys, today is the 13th of November. Let's make sure in 7 days we have the World Cup, and crypto.com is a sponsor of the World Cup, one of the sponsors.
Have led the way on that. As I said earlier,
you think that was done just because they wanted to be collapsing days before?
I don't know, just general shit show. Will
draw absolute and garbage
kind of against the industry in a way. It's like, no. I mean, this isn't that different than a Bernie Madoff situation in some ways. I guess allegedly, I don't know the facts.
My fellow brothers and sisters of Cronos, do me a favor and smash that beautiful like button, please. Let's get more people listening the facts from leaders too, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much, and welcome aboard.
FTX US is solvent, as SBF has tweeted. Maybe actually U.S. regulations worked in this situation, and it's other geographies that need to be more aware of their financial regulations.
Yeah, Brad, you may not have seen it. FTX US is in Chapter 11 now.
Oh, I did not see that. Sorry.
Oh. I've got a person that wants to come up on stage, Usman. Usman, I'll bring you up. He's spoke to SBF multiple times as they attempted to open their branch in Saudi, and he's got some information to share. So I'm going to bring you up now, Usman. In the meantime, I'll give the mic to Satoshi. I know you had your hand up. Satoshi?
Hey, do you hear me?
Hey, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, man. First, I just wanted to go back to crypto.com, but maybe if you want to discuss these other things first, I can just
go back to that's a big focus of ours. Like, I'm waiting for breaking news now. I don't know if chat has any, but I'm waiting for breaking news to come in.
I actually do have some news. Now, this isn't just happened breaking. You feel this is an ongoing sort of.
Look at the massive price collapsing right now, guys.
Keep in mind here that got passed my way.
This is just insane.
One would be that Bitcoin miners selling pressure is the highest in almost 5 years now at this point. The last time the index saw such high levels at the peak of the 2017 bull market and the end of the 2018 bear market. So that's something ongoing as well right now. And on the flip side of that, interestingly enough, Cardano, new daily addresses have increased 400% since the FTX collapse. So that's also something interesting to report there.
Hey, Charles, there you go.
Charles, come on, Charles, speak to us. Come in.
Well,
yes.
Everybody mocked us for not being involved in any of this stuff, and now they're all like, "Hey, we should go to the Cardano side." They weren't involved in any of this stuff.
And you know what's funny is that this is the first positive news mentioned. I think the first, unless you consider the arrest of Sam a positive news, which I don't, but you can if. Oh, actually, I do. But that's the first positive news, Charles. So congratulations. Yeah. Usman, you've had a lot of interactions with Sam. Simon, do you mind if I ask a question to Usman?
Yeah, ask the question, but I was going to make a joke. I think Trezor and Ledger sales are probably positive news.
Yeah, we'll do that breaking news as well, chat about that, if you can find that information. Usman, how are you?
Hey, Mario, I'm doing well. How about you?
Good, man, good. So you've had a lot of interactions. The team just sent me messages with Sam, as you tried to open their branch in Saudi Arabia.
FTXcrypto.com.
Yes, I do, Mario. It's just
enjoy, guys, and welcome aboard. Thank you, Corina.
Interacting with them for almost like 3 months now. Reached out to them, and how we could have somehow, finance competitive in the region and things like that. That's where I'm from, and we start talking to them and trying to gather information, because, so far in the Middle East, especially in like the Gulf countries, there's no like
crypto.com Cronos token. Yeah, when this token goes all the way up to the moon to $1.
Good
It's gonna be too late to all the fodders.
So we proposed to
we're gonna come
them
back,
that, we are
and we're gonna
looking
come back
for
strong, and we're gonna remember for the rest of our lives this day.
First thing they come, and this is just like,
and if I need to bet my
weird the way
reputation
they
in one
talk
token, it's gonna be this one.
to us, like,
gonna be this
hey, give us some more
100%.
registration and allowance, government subsidies and things like that to start with. So we said no, and we have what it takes to kind of like start the registration process as soon as they will provide us the documents, right? Because to register in the Middle East, especially in the Gulf countries, especially in Saudi Arabia, for example, you need solid documents to start with. And our proposal was that to have FTX US equivalent registration in Saudi Arabia in the middle in the Gulf countries. So, but their questions and answers in the document exchange with us was like always being weird, shadowed. We have lawyers and people, financial advisors, and
they say, where's a crypto.com fam?
Documentation
almost 1,000 people watching, guys. That's where we are. We're here standing strong with Oscar Ramos and the rest who are loyal. You think that they just created or have that amazing sponsorship with the World Cup just in vain? You think the loaded lions with this new metaverse idea that's going to come up with Cronos playing just in vain? You think all the countries that they have now listed and approved, it's just in vain? 150 million pounds just in vain in France? No, sir. We're gonna come back stronger than ever.
And
go ahead and smash the like button, guys, and consider subscribing. Let's get everybody here in the house now.
Binance competitive exchange in the Middle East and the Gulf countries. I know, Mario, you're in UAE, you can tell, like, there are only Binance is actually dominance in the market, right? So we've been trying to get that FTX. We tried actually Coinbase. It doesn't work because they're not interested on expanding that much. But FTX, they actually give us like green line from initially. And then initially they give us green line. And then after that, as much question we ask, no answer. So
okay,
I just found...
So just quickly, I want to kind of summarize what you're saying. So you're saying that other than being weird, in dealing with them, first, what were they applying for exactly? What license for what? What do you call it?
So license for basically exchange provider exchange, right? Provider exchange.
For Saudi Arabia.
For Saudi Arabia, and then basically, so the way it works is that if you get the licensing in Saudi Arabia, if you manage to get that, for example, there are a company called, so this company, should I mention some companies or?
Yeah, of course, bro.
Okay, so there's a company that actually gets, they have a license, interactive exchange license.
Oscar, we got this right? Now. Pro will never collapse. Stay strong. The end. Try to resist. We have to, brothers. There's no other chance.
Operate underneath interactive brokers, and they provide all sort of,
until
interactive brokers in the US.
Until Crypto.com says anything regarding withdrawals,
and equivalent to that,
the price is it's being depleted. It's being sold down.
However,
but I haven't never so far heard FTX, anything regarding crypto withdrawals. Crypto.com withdrawals.
As what
by now, with the price right now,
FTX in the US,
FTX already was like, we're halting, we're doing this, we're pausing. They're doing nothing.
Independent, different
no
name,
updates. Crypto.com, everything okay.
FTX.
The leaders have money.
I appreciate you sharing this, and look, I think this is a good pivot to, and Satoshi, I'll let you speak right after, but I know Sak is on stage, and Sak,
I have something I'd like to break just really quick. So this is a comment by Elon Musk that on Twitter. So this is in a reply. I'll read the tweet that he was replying to. Tom Fitton tweets out that while the administration has been harassing and threatening Elon Musk and his companies, one of the worst scams in modern finance was being perpetrated under their nose by a regular White House and Capitol Hill visitor and the second biggest Democratic donor. Elon Musk replies to this, SBF was a major Dem donor, so no investigation.
The jabs continue. Sak, I'll give you the mic just because the point you're going to make, and then I'll go to Satvik and Satoshi because I know they've had their hand up for a while. You were recommending, you're going to be bringing tomorrow you're gonna be bringing what's the gentleman's name? The ex. I'll let you say so. Who's coming in? Who could be coming in tomorrow? And then would love your take on regulators, their perspective of all this.
Sure. So it's likely to be Mick Mulvaney.
Mick Mulvaney,
yeah, ex-chief of staff to the White House during the last administration. Who's
back
also
to 6 cents, everybody.
Well.
Back to 6 cents.
But the message that I want to really make clear here is the impacts of regulation spilling from centralized exchanges.
Oh, yeah. Come on, baby.
That's going to be a key focus of everybody right now.
This massive garbage started at around 9 cents.
Both sides of the pond, if we look at
I still believe, guys, we are going to come back stronger, and the Cronos community, because of this and the spotlight they are giving us, we're going to be very close to Binance, baby. This is exactly what Crypto.com needed. The spotlight-free advertising to destroy expectations. And we're going to do it in the World Cup too.
I mean, there's no perfect solution to resolve this. I know that everyone who operates in the decentralized space is very much libertarian. Just to throw it back to what Ran said earlier. But look, I think there's a middle ground for all of this that we have to seek. I think it's up to us within the industry to now start approaching the regulators a little bit more carefully, with the understanding that their focus will shift quite quickly from regulation on centralized exchanges, as we start to see most of liquidity being pulled from them, as we've seen with FTX. And where is it going to? It's going into the decentralized space. It's going into non-custodial wallets. So how do we strike that balance? How do we manage AML KYC policies without having to reveal our identities on chain and through other means as well, or reverting to centralized processes around that? So one of the key focuses that's coming out of MICA, as pretty much everybody should be aware, is around KYC.
Just remember something, my friends. It's your money. It's your choice. If you cannot handle the FUD, if you cannot handle this, here it is. You can always get out. Nobody's forcing you. You should never put your trust, your money in somebody else's influence. I'm a content creator because I believe what I believe, and I tell you what I believe. But you shouldn't be basing your decisions with what I do. Okay? Be an adult. Be responsible.
Into this?
It's your money. Be responsible.
Hold on, there was one breaking news by chat that, from a European Central Bank. What was it again, chat?
Yes, let me go right back to that. I literally still have it open. So, European regulators. So this is from Andrea Enria,
breaking news now.
The ECB's supervisory board and the head of the financial supervision. He said he warns that regulators will struggle to oversee crypto asset providers, and my tone is very sardonic here, given that this is coming from the ECB, has warned that regulators will struggle to oversee crypto asset providers which, quote, never think about financial risks, close quote, do not respect national borders, and pose, quote, a huge consumer protection issue, close quote. He also told the Financial Times, I am concerned for my colleagues that will have to perform this supervision in the future because these are animals with whom it is difficult to engage.
I'll give the mic back to you, man.
Thanks, Mario. Yeah, very interesting point, chat. I mean, look, the issue here, the key issue between everyone is that there is a lack of understanding of the technology, the virtues of decentralization, but also
I remember this when Crypto.com awarded the Cyber Trust Mark Singapore. You think they give this one to everybody? To FTX? No, baby. No. Deloitte audit back in August 2022
is focused on, well, how do we identify who individuals passing through decentralized exchanges are? What are the impacts when it comes to geopolitical landscape, funding of war?
And you know what? There's a bunch of people in the comments fighting. At least you know who they are. At least you know what are the content creators now. They're through the actual truth. It's coming out for some of them.
Some good advisors on both sides, both from Europe and the US, with Phil Hogan, former trade commissioner, sitting on our board, and also Mick Mulvaney, as I said, as well as Kirsten Nielsen, former head of Homeland Security and Cybersecurity for the US. We're in a good position to have those conversations and ongoing conversations with a number of regulators and security commissions around the world to actually help them better understand, the massive benefits and economic stimulus to this industry. Now, the threat here is that they would want to impose centralized KYC and AML means across this industry, which could be quite damaging to the growth of this. So it's all about us to manage and strike the balance between decentralization, anonymization, whilst also building in those rule sets for KYC and AML. That's a keen focus of what we're actually doing at our company as well, is providing that
through anonymized means without sacrificing the regulatory standards that are required. But as always, there's a balance between what this incredible innovative technology can do and, let's just say, not fit for purpose regulatory standards that exist now. But we may see an acceleration in traditional financial standards being pushed into the decentralized space.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I would love having Mick on stage tomorrow, or any other regulators that want to come up on stage. I actually want to do a stay if Kim is okay with it.
There's something that just broke here from Bitcoin.com.
There's nothing on
Crypto exchange
crypto.com.
Kraken has
All good.
frozen the accounts of FTX, Alameda Research, and all of their executives. They've been in contact with law
Breaking news
enforcement
right now.
as well. Remember, Kraken was speaking with law enforcement, trying to find out what was going on with the hack, etc. They have also now, as of today, taken steps to basically freeze the
This is
entirety
getting
of any
hotter
accounts
and
that belong
hotter,
to
baby.
FTX Group, Alameda Research, and their
No
executives.
news on
Their quote is,
crypto.com
Kraken
when
has
it
spoken
comes
with law
to
enforcement regarding a
halting
handful of
trading,
accounts
withdrawals,
owned by
anything.
the
You
bankrupt
want to
FTX
leave
Group, Alameda
crypto.com, you
Research,
can
and
leave
executives.
crypto.com. It's
Those
up to
accounts
you.
have
It's
been
up to
frozen
you.
to
Leave
protect their
it.
creditors.
There's no
This
halting. All good.
implies
All
that there's
good.
something else going on behind the scenes here with law enforcement and what happened with this hack and what Kraken might know.
And this kind of shows the. Yeah, go ahead, Rich. And Simon.
I was going to add real quick that yesterday we announced that we were we have a product called Paxos Gold, Pax Gold, and we were also directed yesterday to freeze those. So that's been going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, be careful the way you read that out. I thought you said frozen withdrawals. That you almost scared the hell out of me as a Kraken fan. But do you want to, because there's so many new people here, do you want to give an update on what we, the flow of all the hacked funds from FTX and what's going on there that we discovered?
Yeah, so I'll let chat prepare an update for everyone else, for everyone new that joined. I want to give Satvik and Satoshi the opportunity to speak. While we bring up other speakers. I know there's a lot of hands up. Anyone that has the hand up, I'll remind you all, you have to DM us why you need to speak, and the team will try to bring you on.
Conversations from CC, Charles Hoskins, and the CEO of Ripple. Tomorrow there seems to be Mick Mulvaney, United States, former United States, official. Because what happened with FTX, everybody, especially exchanges, is taking it. And with what happened with crypto.com and Gata, what you're seeing right here, $400 million transaction is messing up everything and the FUD.
Really interesting to me, and I've been working on ideas myself. So I was just curious if you guys are using tokenized KYC that you then share with the exchanges and different players that need those regulatory standards, or if you figured out other ways.
Subsac, I see you, brother.
And before you answer that,
like I said, bro, anyone wanting to get out all of the crypto exchanges, you can always have this. Get out if you want. It's up to you. It's your money. It's absolutely your money, right? Get out if you want.
No. It wasn't,
mine is super staked.
It was specific
Tectonic, VVS, Cronos, 12, 21 days.
Our token
if this thing goes down, I'm not going to have any time, right? But so far, nothing makes me believe that crypto.com is going to go bankrupt. Come on. Until they say something, but I haven't seen anything, guys. Haven't seen anything.
There's an ability to freeze that as it relates to a real world asset. So we are able to prevent that from moving further.
Okay. So Simon, did you have more points on this before we move on to the question that Sadvik asks Sap?
No. I mean, go for it. But I mean, why don't you? While we're on that, what do you think that the chain is just eventually just going to get clogged up with all of these sanction addresses? And have you got any thoughts on where that's going, and if there's any? This was a big part of SBF's ask, was to have the ability to sanction addresses in the DeFi space. Have you got any thoughts on it?
Well, I don't necessarily think it's about sanctioning. And to answer the earlier question, it's a combination of non-transferable NFT, hashed metadata on chain. But I'm happy to discuss that at a technical level, one-to-one, if you'd like that. But in any case, I don't think it's a question of sanctioning and blocking addresses, but I think it's about providing more anonymized information about who you're actually transacting with on chain, bringing in an ethical component which allows you to really switch and on.
Let's clean the chat a little bit.
For validated and
Let's clean the
unvalidated
chat a little
addresses
bit.
that you wish to engage with. I think that's a key.
Come on,
component of it.
subscribers.
They'll bring
Welcome
extra
aboard.
granularity from an analytical perspective.
FUD is everywhere.
About transaction
Let's clean the
history
chat a little bit.
and where users are transacting.
Facts over FUD. Facts over FUD.
Yeah, so like the real challenge as a centralized company like us is as much as we'd love to rely on that data, our regulators force us to have the data. So even if you get it on chain, it will provide an additional data point.
Yeah.
And it probably can work for the decentralized way, but in the centralized way, you have to hold it.
Yeah, I think the combination of the two, right? I mean, look, who are you to trust a centralized party offering information on chain, but building Oracle services that bring in professional audit and validation of those credentials is important as well. You know, there is a separation between personal information, identity, and on-chain identity as well. There's huge disparity between the two. That can still remain to a degree as well, but also bringing in, you know, risk worthiness of individual identity as well is quite important as well as we move forward. You know, and we see this hybridization of, let's call it, regulatory standards on chain.
All right, guys, just quickly, I've got a lot of things going on my end. So we're getting a lot of DMs, a lot of information. One of them, I'll just share them as they come, and I'm just not going to have time to validate them. The team is struggling as well. So a pretty credible source and a CEO of a large company. This one is coming from two sources that are credible. And that's about Sam Bankman-Fried's father being an expert in tax shelters. He's a professor at
5 cents, everybody. 6 cents, everybody. Price of crypto.com
nothing major
down,
for the circumstances.
very down.
That's something worth mentioning. We've got 2 exchanges being invited. We'll see if a few exchanges being invited.
60% or so plus.
So we'll see if they come on. Another
as we go back to where we were.
Another point is we've got here someone that works with regulators saying the following. Regulation, I'm going to quote exactly what he said. Regulation in Europe will send a wave across the world from a regulatory point of view, which will affect the USA and the world, as it will lead the WAU, I don't know what that means, as to how the space will begin becoming regulated on the issuance of utility tokens and the stable coins and how the information needs to be maintained. So I've got a lot of other similar messages. I won't read them all, but anyone that wants to send tips without coming up on stage, that's also an option. Best thing is DM it on Twitter. It's easier than trying to get my number and message me because I'm not keeping up with my messages. Anything else, Chet?
Just makes sense, everybody. Shorting crypto.com, trying to destroy it.
To the panel.
So Binance can be number one.
There are some rumors coming through, but they're
makes total
too big
sense.
We want to say them right now, so I have to get them confirmed. But
can you send me? Can you send me the rumor, please? And yeah, please confirm in the meantime. Yeah. Anything too big, I'm happy to state rumors, but if it's just too major, then I'd rather we validate it first. If the source is good. So I'll go, Wahid's on stage, great. I want to go to Satoshi, if you don't mind, Satvik, just because he's had his hand up for like 2 hours now. Satoshi, I really appreciate you being patient, man. You were speaking earlier than breaking news came in, so I'll let you speak quickly before Chet comes back with more breaking news.
All right, yeah. So I just wanted to add a couple of things with crypto.com. I know Ran asked who is actually using
crypto.com. Listen.
I think he also said that none of his friends are using it. But if you look at the wallets, it's mostly like Shiba and coins like these. So I think that the savvy crypto investor is not using the crypto.com app. It's more like people who watch the commercial on TV or whatever they've heard about the meme coin. So that's the first thing. And also, secondly, I don't think it's spreading FUD talking about crypto.com because they are supposed to reassure us, right? So we have the right to ask what happened with these transactions and whatnot. So I think it's just fair for us to raise those questions, and they should definitely try to answer them as good as they can. So definitely major flags there. Also, the third thing, and I also want to add another question, perhaps to Simon or someone, in regards to this, and that is that compared to Celsius and FTX and whatnot, we didn't have our funds locked on those platforms. Even though they mismanaged funds, we could still withdraw them at any time until we couldn't, right? So with crypto.com, you're actually if you use the earn function, which is where you earn yield, you earn more yield by locking it up for 90 days or 3 months. So I think that's one thing to also consider. Like, even if they do have, we're just speculating, but even if they do have a hole in their balance sheet, that would give them some more time at least to try to fix that situation. And then the question I would have for Simon or someone else is, in these circumstances where there are like major red flags going off, is there something to do for a lot of people who are like having their funds in the crypto earn locked up? Is there something they can do about that, even though like the terms state that they have to wait it out? So that's just that, guys.
I appreciate you sharing this. Before you answer that, Simon, we've got a very trusted source coming in with more information. So, Mike, I've just sent you an invite to come back up to stage.
Yes, you have to
Simon,
lock it on the card or for
Yeah, sure.
earn
So
21
the
days.
first thing to note
Yes.
is that anyone selling an earned product, a yield product, is selling an illegal security, and they've all had cease and desist orders from regulators because people need disclosures and suitability around how that yield is being earned. So that's the first thing, and that's why everyone should withdraw off crypto.com and all of these platforms at the moment. And so, you know, if anyone's listening to this, unfortunately, that's the reality. You need to take it onto cold storage. Now, if you're locked up in, let's just call it a CD or a term deposit, the equivalent, that is the way to do this in the future, but it needs to correspond with how it's actually being invested. So you can't have instant withdrawals on securities, you know, and without disclosures on how those are actually being invested, because that's what causes the ability to have this run on an unlicensed, unregistered bank. So that's a really important thing. So in the future, these I believe that these earn products will firstly not be called earn accounts, because an earn account is incredibly misleading for you to thinking that it's like a deposit. It will be an earn loan because you're lending the money to the platform, and then they are engaging in risky activities, and those will be disclosed as a security with suitability testing so that you don't invest too much in it. So that's where it goes. And then you will have terms at which you can lock it up so that a good risk management department can manage how those funds can be locked up for that long to prevent any kind of liquidity crisis. And then it's not an insolvency issue because if you're investing in a security, then you can actually know whether those funds are lost or not and how they were invested with all the correct disclosure. So that's the first part of getting the market where it needs to go. But unfortunately, the situation we're in today is that nobody has sold these in compliance with securities laws, so that's creating a run on a bank at the moment. And at some point, all of these platforms are going to be triggered at the point at which they have funds available for withdrawals and the funds that are locked up in investments. And the advice to those that have those on the 3 months, it's the term. So if these companies move into Chapter 11 and you've invested for a 3 month term and it gave you additional yield, then you're going to be stuck if it reaches a Chapter 11 or a bankruptcy or insolvency situation in between. But if you do have non-term investments, then you shouldn't be listening to this. You should be trying to withdraw your funds right now and put them on cold storage or a wallet where you control the key. And I've got a question for you. Sorry, one question for you. You said it's mainly SHIB.
So basically,
and
withdraw.
like
That's what they're saying. Withdraw.
Can SHIB be used as collateral? Is that what's
That's what they're
there?
saying, right?
Like, can you actually borrow against your SHIB on the crypto.com?
That's a good question. I don't know. But I do think that so basically in the earn program, they have the ability, you can lock it up for like flexible, you don't lock it up at all. And you can lock it up for 1 month or 2 months. Now, if you're holding a lot of CRO and you lock up the CRO, that puts you in kind of a bracket where you earn additional yield. So this is why people like from way back 2019, you were able to earn 14% on stable coins if you locked it up for 3 months. So I guess a lot of people have been doing that until now. They have lowered the rates right now, but I mean, I guess people could earn yield on SHIB and these other coins as well. I don't see a reason why not, even though they might not use it. Actually,
yeah, it's more the collateral. So the FTX business model was that they collateralized the FTT, which is an illiquid token, in a time of a crisis. that can send the whole company insolvent.
I love that we're talking crypto.com all day right
these
now,
collateralized
because
loans should only be
when
in
we come
future done
back,
with
we're
pristine
gonna do
collateral,
the
and
best
SHIB
comeback in the
is certainly
history of
not the
crypto,
type of
everybody.
shitcoin that you should be using as
I
pristine
think so.
collateral if they allow you to borrow against it. I'm not sure if they do.
Nothing right now
So
makes me
let me
believe
add
that
another
we're
thing
going down.
quickly.
God, bro.
So I heard. I'm pretty sure, like I don't have it on top of like in front of me right now, but back in 2019, when they launched the Earn program, Chris actually said, the CEO of Crypto.com, said that they are not actually lending out the crypto that people locked up in Earn. Now I don't know if that was just for like
What year was that, man?
So they launched it. I think they launched it at the end of 2019 or beginning of 2020, at the same time when the crypto token went nuts.
I do want to point out, and Kim, I don't know if you'll agree with me stating this, and right after I do this, I'll give the mic to Umbrella.
Listen closely, everybody.
On
It's crypto.com.
And on-chain analysis on the whole FTX scam and saga. Simon, you requested that, so we brought up Umbrella. But Kim, would you agree if I state to the audience that even though we've had a lot of credible people ring the alarm on crypto.com, and we might see more breaking news about them, and obviously what happened with Gate is a big red flag. Would you agree? First, we all agree. I'm sure no one would disagree except Fernando earlier, but most of us would agree that not having your funds on crypto.com, and as Gabe said, any exchange to be on the safe side, exchanges are not banks, is what we're all recommending, especially at the moment, crypto.com and a few others I'd name when we have a reason to name them. But would you say there's also, so I'm trying to be balanced, would you say there's still a possibility that, there isn't much nefarious things going on with crypto.com? They're not over leveraged, and that was just a mistake, and they're not perfect, they're fucking up here and there, but they might stand the test of time. And that obviously applies to other exchanges, but we're focusing on crypto.com today because of what happened.
Talk about the regulations, the legislation, the securities, all the things that they've done. Just FUD, obviously.
What I think is that in the situation we're in, the best option for everyone who has crypto on exchanges is to withdraw it and to have a holding pattern, keep your crypto safe until we know how big this impact of FTX is going to be, who else is going to fold. I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to go through some pretty rough times, and we're going to see more, problems rather than less. So the prudent thing to do is just get off the exchanges, at least for now. And then, the long-term game should be wait until exchanges do actually have regulations that protect users. And in the meantime, just, self-manage your keys.
There's going to be breaking news any minute. I can feel it, like we had yesterday and the day before. There's going to be some breaking news that we're going to react like, yep, of course. Like, it's going to be probably worse than our worst case scenario. It happened time and time again in the last 48 hours. I think it's going to happen again. So Chet, I can't wait for you to just jump in. And when you do my...
Also, Mario, I just want you to know, I think I'm the only voice to say that I completely disagree with the consensus. Okay.
Tell me more. Guys, for anyone that doesn't know, Wahid is from the private financial world, runs a big hedge fund, a good friend, and a very smart person. So I'd love to get your take on this, Wahid.
Listen,
didn't expect you to jump in with
big
this
league
big
people
No,
here.
because I've been listening to this for 3 days, and I'm going to say a few things that I know is going to be very unpopular. First, I want you to know I'm all for DeFi. I'm all for decentralization. I'm all for the cause. But I want to state a few things because we are being very nonchalant about this. Withdraw from CEX, withdraw. Okay? I was through 08. When I was at Goldman and Janus, I lived through every crisis since the 1980s. You know that, Mario. I'm a little bit of an old geezer. Not a single bank was going to survive in October of 08 unless the Fed intervened. We all know that. None of everyone on this call would have taken their money out of the ATM machine. The most decentralized commodity today, gold, if every single person redeemed their futures contracts, there's not enough gold to actually meet the demand. There's 10x more paper trading gold than gold exists. Nothing in this world, okay, is not at some form leveraged. If everyone here follows the advice of all these Twitter spaces and we all withdraw from CEXs, this industry is done. Okay? And here's what I want, and I'm hoping this goes to CZ and everyone else who has some means, is my understanding from talking to so many players is $20 to $30 billion is what is required right now to stabilize the system. And what we need is for the CEXs who are solvent, who want to contribute, to create the liquidity fund. And then you go, for every CEX that's about to fail, they turn over the keys. If they don't turn over the keys, then they're going to go to jail. First of all bondholders and equity holders are going to be wiped out. But what we need to do is protect the depositors. If this liquidity fund provides the marginal liquidity in order to liquefy the system, then basically in the future, once that liquidity pool gets paid back, like the IMF, then that centralized exchange is going to be owned by the depositors. That's the only way we're going to get out of this. If we are all going to fail, if crypto.com fails, if Gate.io fails, I am telling you, in a week or two, this whole system is gone. You guys are being nonchalant about it. I've been through this crisis after crisis after crisis. And Binance is not going to go to 70 to 80 to 90% market share. That is a fairy tale. No one's going to allow that to happen. This industry will not survive unless leaders step up, create a liquidity fund, punish the former owners who were completely scrupulous about investor funds and depositors, but we need to find an industry solution. Because God knows how we're going to survive this if we don't.
I don't think the industry is going to come together on this one. First, we can't even agree on proof of work versus proof of stake, and even legitimizing these concepts. And after years and years and years of shitcoin this, shitcoin that, and everybody's evil, it's a fairy tale to believe that somehow people are going to wake up and do that. But guys, what makes crypto special is
CZ could have started it. CZ could have started it as opposed to send tweets saying the whole industry is going to shit. He could have started a different momentum.
You can't rescue fraud. Yeah, there's big problems with rescuing fraud.
Exactly. You can't rescue fraud. If nobody can come in and save Bernie Madoff because there's no asset worth purchasing there. Whereas 2008, at least we had some collateral like houses and other things, and we could argue about the valuations. But we say, oh, if you let it ride long enough, eventually these things could be made whole. In this particular case, this is an imaginary thing on top of an imaginary thing on top of an imaginary thing. And if somebody's willing to take a 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever $1 billion loss, then sure, it'll work. But this industry lost, the valuations have gone down $2.2 trillion since 2021. $2.2 trillion.
Can I rebut that?
Can
I rebut that? People have been sending around the portfolio of Alameda. And you know what the consensus is? It's actually pretty neat projects.
Yeah, but that goes to creditors. You have to do it through the legal process.
No,
which
creditors
is
are zeroed. No, creditors are zeroed. Depositors are protected.
They should be entitled to those assets.
None.
Creditors.
None.
You're confusing shareholders with creditors. Creditors.
I'm not.
Depositors.
Those are both below the line. Depositors come first.
Yeah, that's what a creditor is. A depositor is a creditor. It's the same.
Depositors.
This is crypto. We don't do bailouts.
Depositors senior to a creditor, Richard.
But you can't bail out a Ponzi scheme with and you can't bail out fraud because then you're then investing with the proceeds of crime. There's no way in the industry can do that. It's got to go through the correct legal process. It's got to wash out, and there are processes for dealing with this. We tried with Celsius, and as soon as we figured out what was actually going on, there's no way that you can bail out those businesses and allow for those practices to continue. It's just not legal.
I agree with you, but I have one point of disagreement. For me, in a normal institution, depositors come before creditors.
Sorry, depositors are creditors. If you're an unsecured creditor, if you have funds on FTX, you're an unsecured creditor. And there'll be secured creditors before unsecured, and equity a loss. So we're probably saying the same thing, but using a different word.
No, I agree. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is the kind of creditors that I'm talking about that come junior to the depositors are the second senior subordinated, etc. My point is that right now, guys, I love you all. You know that. If we don't liquefy the system, we could all pontificate at what's going to happen. This whole notion that everyone withdraws from the centralized exchanges is guys, if we all do that, it is game over for our industry. We turn it back 10 years.
No, we're
And
not
I think
I
exchanges.
disagree with
We're a
that. I
bigger
disagree with
industry
that
than
point.
exchanges. We're a
The
much
reason
bigger
why I
industry.
disagree, yeah, the reason why I disagree with that point is that there's a separation between decentralized exchanges and centralized exchanges, and you can hold your assets on cold storage and move them to a decentralized exchange anytime you want to. It's not the end of the industry. No one's saying to sell all of your assets.
I
No one's saying
am
to
so
move to
love
the
these
US dollar.
discussions, guys,
People are just simply
because
saying to
if the
secure your
leaders
assets, move
of
them to
the
cold storage,
industry,
get them
some
off of
stud
exchanges
people,
until this picture gets clear.
disagree, it
It's
shows
not
that we
the
need
what would
more
be the end of this
discourse.
industry is if no
And
one
this is
has
much
their
needed.
actual assets and all
And the
these
price
exchanges
of
go
Crow,
underwater, and then
guys,
everything just goes to
6
creditors.
cents.
That's the
I
end of
thought
this
about
industry.
this. I promise you, and I swear on my
Don't forget
mother's
to smash
I'm
the
on
like
your
button,
side.
everybody. Subscribe
But
to
the
the channel.
equivalent in the
Continue
real
this
world is every
course.
company going
Let's get
private
everybody here on
and
board. Welcome
delisting to
aboard,
the New
Cronos
York Stock
fam.
Exchange. Then there's no
Welcome
private
aboard.
That's not the
discovery.
equivalent because we
There's
still
no
have
credit.
liquidity.
There's
We
no
have
credit
dexes.
flow. Guys, the industry will not function. There's no credit flow. There's no price
It will.
discovery.
It will. Our Bitcoin's way more resilient than you think. Way more. We've seen this before. It's a bigger version. We get much. We get more and more traction and more people at each cycle. But to think that the fall of an exchanges, we've been through this before. I remember, and probably Charles remembers, when Mark Capellas immediately said that the fall of Mt. Gox was because of Bitcoin and said it was a transaction malleability. When it turned out an exchange had nothing to do with Bitcoin, and we'll go through this cycle again. We go through it every time. Yeah, we'll take a lot of hits, and it's unfortunate that creditors, are they'll be the beneficiary of all these assets, as you say, but there's no way that you can take a bunch of illegal activities, bail out the industry and continue that. You have to wash it out through the legal system, and then these centralized exchanges and regulators will define what's going to be securities, what's going to be regulated custody, what's going to be regulated lending. And all those regulations exist, by the way. It's just the bit that doesn't exist is the definition of what the underlying asset is, whether it's a security, commodity, or virtual asset.
That's 100% right. You solve the problems of centralization with decentralization. It's about fucking time that this industry actually lives up to the thing on the label. All these people ran around for a long time and said, oh, it's decentralized, throw all your money into it because it's a new paradigm, it's decentralization. And the first fucking thing that they did when they got other people's money is they rebuilt Web 2. And they rebuilt centralized entities and reconstructed all of Wall Street, this time with very little regulation or skirting the regulations. And now that everything's coming collapsing down predictably, they say, oh, well, we got to get a bailout. Oh, you got to save us for the good of decentralization. If you don't save us, all the cryptocurrencies will come to an end. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. Cardano doesn't give a shit. Guys, the protocols are fine. They're still going to work exactly the same way tomorrow. They're still going to work exactly the same way. And, it's a lesson. We need to decentralize. We need to get shit on chain. We need to actually build real things that don't have custodians, that don't have trust, because that's how you solve the problem. If we do a bailout, all we're doing is basically saying, well, it's okay. Once we get rid of these criminals, the next wave of criminals will be far more honest and far better. And fuck it, let's just give it to BlackRock and Chase and Goldman Sachs and all these other guys. Just let them run it because they know how to run these types of things. I didn't fucking sign up for that. I signed up for real decentralization. I signed up to actually have an asset class that doesn't need a goddamn bailout and is self-transparent and self-auditing and open.
100%
So I agree 100% with you. I think all of those guys need to go to jail. I think all of them need to be reprimanded. I'll tell you who I care about and who I worry about. People who have no idea about this dialogue. And I'm quite new to the blockchain, few years. I'm part of the regular world. I apologize. But so many new entrants into your space, into our space in the last 2 years, signed up by opening an account in a centralized exchange. And all I care about in this discussion is protecting those people. I do not give a shit about the centralized exchanges and their owners and their creditors. I care about the mom and pop who deposited their first fiat in a centralized exchange because, frankly, they did not know how to go to MetaMask and Uniswap and PancakeSwap. And it's okay to admit that. Because the normal world, the average Joe, does not know or is as sophisticated as you. They have opened accounts in centralized exchanges in complete oblivion to give all of us a chance. All of us. And that's all I'm trying to say.
Let's talk about how to make them more sophisticated instead of talking about how to perpetuate the very reason the industry exists. We don't solve 2008 by becoming bigger than too big to fail. That's what we did in Wall Street, and that's why crypto exists. And at some point, you have to have some tough love and let the market clear and let people wise up and grow up and realize they don't get something for nothing. And this is not a one-way relationship. The avarice that built this, we shouldn't reward it with validation and vindication of that avarice. We should educate people and say it's time for a new type of finance. It's time for a different way of doing things. And yes, it takes real use of utility and adoption. And I'm sorry, a bailout does nothing. It just rewards bad behavior.
Umbrella Sadvik, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, just on that, I think we got to differentiate between banks and exchanges. They are completely different in my eyes. You know, exchanges should hold your crypto one-to-one on cold wallets or hot wallets as well. You can't bank run that. You know, if they're holding one-to-one, you can withdraw everything from that exchange. They should be able to give it to you. Like CZ said around Binance, they hold one-to-one. So I agree with Mario. You know, we should all, you know, have no fear of perpetuating our views that we should withdraw from exchanges because there shouldn't be a bank run on that. So I think the kind of Web2 or TradFi mindset is wrong in this case. So that's just kind of my view on that side. In terms of the on-chain data and kind of what we're seeing is, and we've been following this since the beginning.
Price of crypto.com.
Using the data sets that we
got
built,
a bottom right
both
now.
that kind of monitor us
057
live on Telegram and Discord.
057.
Basically, for anyone
Everything
that wasn't
looking
in the
good,
space
just
last
scroll,
night, I'm just going to
get in the
give you
battle
an overview
of
in
its
terms
life
what
right
we
now.
saw. So effectively, FTX's both cold and hot wallets started moving funds, you know, almost, what is it, about 30 hours ago. And we all picked it up because it wasn't just, you know, small withdrawals that you would expect from users on that exchange. It was effectively full token balances of big tokens. Then you know, the media assumption was actually this is potentially a hack, or this is, you know, someone that got access to their systems, or, you know, how they're bombing gunpoint or anything. But then we saw, in terms of when they sent that to the wallet, how did the wallet interact now that they got the funds? Because traditionally, you know, big hackers, whether it's Lazarus, North Korea, Russia, whatever it is, whatever those institutions, are very sophisticated once they get the funds. Once they have the funds, the way they obfuscate those funds and do it in a way that you're unable to see where they've moved those funds around. They use different types of protocols, and they've got it all automated on their back end. They use private nodes, not public nodes, etc. Very sophisticated. The way this wallet interacted on chain, and this was across chains, both on Ethereum, Binance.
Okay, everybody.
I see they even on
as of right now, wait.
A few other chains. Is someone who actually doesn't really know how DeFi works. It's more someone, you know, who's newer to DeFi. So when we saw that, we thought, you know, this is not a sophisticated hack, and to hack a big exchange like FTX.
Okay, everybody. It's been so far, we could continue. It's been so far an intense 1 hour plus of immense pressure, FUD, and really the truth for centralized exchanges, right? And crypto.com is not exempt. We've heard Charles Hoskinson, we heard the CEO of Ripple, we heard many different industry leaders and company leaders, and it's tough to swallow that we are in the eye of the beholder right now. Looking at the price of crypto.com, everybody, obviously a matter of concern. After 1,400 votes, people still believe that it's just FUD right now. Just FUD. But people are scared, and I understand that, everybody. I understand that very, very well. Right now, we're going to go back in just a second, but I just wanted to make a quick pause, guys, because, man, it's getting really, really hot in here. Bitcoin Ethereum, everything, and I'm checking, who is coming in. And if I see Chris or crypto.com, I'm probably not gonna stand up from this chair. But you're seeing right now on the screen, who is the one that's dying? Cronos 22, but 6 cents. We got 5-6 cents. It hasn't passed the lowest price ever. Crypto.com, know that. KuCoin right now, I wouldn't be surprised if the coin of Gate.io is here too. But look at everything, is pretty much collapsed, and even Solana too. But now 50% down in the eye of the beholder right now. Everywhere, obviously, it's trending when it comes to crypto.com. And if I go to the 1 week right now, doing some price analysis, this is what we see. So we are in December 2020. That was the last lowest price that we had on crypto.com. Finally, with the massive amount of garbage and pressure and dropping and FUD and all of that, we're seeing the price getting really, really close. But there's something, I believe, on behalf of Oscar Ramos, this is me. Nothing makes me believe as of right now, and I put my entire reputation here, that crypto.com is going to collapse, that it's going to go bankrupt, that it's going to fail. Of course, it's not perfect. It is a crypto exchange led by human beings. They had a mistake with Gate.io, $400+ million sent to the wrong wallet address that got caught by everyone. Perfect opportunity to FUD. They own up to it. They tweeted about it. CEO, crypto.com. It's now clear. And Chris, the CEO, who should be in that conversation, didn't even show up. CC showed up for a few moments, left. And of course, somebody for crypto.com thing, either it was a crypto.com brand or crypto.com NFT, joined a channel where Elon Musk was on a Twitter space and left. He just wanted to stay with Elon. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that people can start saying but crypto.com, why do you do that? But it's very different than being insolvent, lying to everybody, and using customer funds to trade. And that is what FTX did. Very different. Very different. Okay. Very, very different, everybody. And that is that's the truth. That's the truth. Now, let's go back to this Twitter space because it's important. Where is it? Here it is.
Chat has breaking news and he dropped off, glitched. I'm trying to bring him up quickly for the news. Oh, there he is.
So the breaking news I've seen is Alameda Research has started, and I guess I can't deny or confirm because it's a fresh wallet. I looked at the wallet across different chains, but Alameda Research has started moving their funds. And it's on Arbitrum, so maybe they used a different blockchain that no one's maybe aware of, but they started moving funds on Arbitrum. And for me, that says, why would if a liquidator came in and started moving their funds to a different wallet that they don't control, why would they start on Arbitrum as a network that's not as well known as Ethereum, as an example?
So just confirm, Alameda Research is moving its funds on Arbitrum?
Yes, they've just started moving. It's literally, I can tell you exactly when they did it. They did it an hour ago. They moved 104 BTC and 1,300 ETH out of the Alameda Researchers, one of their wallets, to another wallet.
Is that the news, chat? That's what you had? Do you DM me?
No, I have different news, and this is in relation to that Serum issue we were having earlier. So Cointelegraph is now reporting that the liquidity hub Serum, which remember that's backed by SBF, has been forked by the developers after the FTX hack. Solana's developers forked the widely used token.
So just to go back, hold up, bro. Serum is the one they launched. So Sam launched Serum, and the market cap was like 80 million, and they had 2 billion. What was the circulating market cap was like 80 million. They had like $2 billion worth of tokens. Was that it?
Correct. Yes, and so They say the Solana developers forked the widely used token liquidity hub Serum after being compromised. So it was compromised by a hack on the bankruptcy exchange FTX that led to a series of unauthorized transactions. According to a Solana developer, they said a verified build of the same version has been made and deployed. Additionally, the upgraded authority and fee revenues have been changed and are now managed by a multi-sig controlled by a team of trusted developers. So he also noted that when I reached out to a couple people previously involved with Serum, I got answers like, "I wish I had more info to help you, but I really don't." And that's from the FTX side.
And just going back to the point Rich kind of said in terms of that Paxos were able to, I guess, freeze the hackers PaxG. That is 100% true. I've got it on chain. You can kind of see it if you go into the Paxos Gold contract. You can see if they've frozen accounts of certain wallets, and it was frozen. And for me, that just shows another, sophisticated, when we saw kind of multiple hacks around, sophisticated hackers, as soon as they do it in a way where they take tokens that can be blacklisted or frozen from wallets, they immediately sell that, or they put a function on the back end. What you can do is that if that you can see if your address is about to be blacklisted, you can sell all your tokens. And that's what sophisticated hackers do, and they didn't do that. And if I have to look at the wallet, how much does it have in Paxos Gold sitting? It's got $14 million of Paxos Gold. So that's kind of a significant funds that they could have had that they didn't by doing that. They obviously were able to sell all the other tokens except USDT, which had got frozen across different blockchains, Paxos that got frozen. But what they did is they sold it all to Ethereum, because obviously Ethereum is a trustless protocol. And what we've seen on BSC is they're trying to use different bridges to convert their BSC balances to Ethereum and move that across to Ethereum. Obviously, because BSC, it's obviously there's a risk that BSC as a chain and the validators could come together and freeze the wallet. I haven't heard any confirmed reports that wallet's been freezed, like they froze the hackers' wallet for that BNB hack. So I know BSC's got the ability to do that, or BNB chain's got the ability to do that. I haven't seen confirmed reports that has happened, though the wallet hasn't interacted with the blockchain in 16 hours. So obviously maybe that's something we need kind of CZ and the BNB team to confirm what action they're going.
Nothing coming from crypto.com when it comes to halting, when it comes to anything pausing. You can leave if you want. You can always leave if you want. Nobody's stopping you, right?
Currently, right now. So people do appear to actually be kind of moving their money in this sort of way. And the other side that they told me is that the rest of the market is currently bleeding out. Like gaming, metaverses, fan tokens, storage, and more. So just something to keep you all updated on the market conditions right now.
So altcoins are bleeding out right now. I'm not even looking at the markets. Is that what you're saying, chat?
Yes, that's correct. The team is telling us that the basically gaming, metaverse, fan tokens, they're bleeding. They're bleeding right now.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Bitcoin is relatively steady at 2% down. Not that steady, but still. 23% down for Cronos. What's Axie at? Axie, let me see. The metaverse is going to get fucked right now. Okay, Axie is up 10% in the last 24 hours. No idea why.
That's very interesting. That would be a outlier then here.
It's in the top 3. The number one token in the top 100. Number one token that's gained the most is Trust. 66% spike, not surprisingly. GMX token is at 12%, and then Axie is at 10%. It was a bit more earlier, and we've had Jiho from Axie on the show a couple of times. And then we have next one is Tron coin, and then you have Uniswap, and then Internet Computer is up as well. And the founder was in the audience earlier. Cool. All right, I'll go ahead, Kyle.
I love GMX. I think for any I think it's relevant to people here maybe know what it is, because you can do pretty much everything that you want to do on something like FTX on GMX, and I'm really happy to see something like GMX actually getting some spotlight.
Yeah, we've had the founder on this. I think we've had the founder on the panel. Remember once that we found out by accident the founder was on the panel? Was that GMX or another one? Kyle?
I don't remember which.
Okay. I think. Oh, maybe another coin. Anyway, we'll go to Lucas because I know you're trying to speak earlier. Lucas, go ahead, bro.
Sorry, just last thing from me before I finish.
Yeah, go ahead, Umbrella.
Mario, I know you were talking about in terms of the tokens kind of it's everyone new in DeFi kind of don't necessarily understand how the token and smart contracts work. But effectively, when you were kind of Chet was explaining around that the wallet appeared that they were sending CRO type tokens. That's false. They weren't. So effectively what, I guess we traditionally we call them scammers, and what they do is they put out honeypot contracts that you can't sell. But they've got the ability in those contracts to, I guess the word spoofing. So where they can effectively say, put on the blockchain that it came from one address to any address. It appears if you go onto the ERC, example, the FTX hacking wallet sent it. But the way to double check and make sure of it is if you actually click the physical transaction, if you look at the from wallet, it's actually not the FTX wallet. So that's how you kind of 100% know that it's not that FTX wallet doing any of those. It's someone trying to take advantage.
The heat is on, everybody. I just want to show this one to everybody watching. Generation 3.0 exchanges slowly but making sure progress in the ranking. This is the type of news that should be blowing up, right? But as human nature goes, always what's sad, what's worse, what's deading, what's blooding, that's what the flood, right? And FOMO when the times are right. Right now, the price of crypto.com, we're looking at 5 to 6 cents. It's obviously in a very rocky situation. I'm gonna continue holding. That's my position. That shouldn't be. That doesn't necessarily has to be your position. But from everything that I'm seeing right now, I do not have evidence that crypto.com is gonna die. You do not have to follow my advice. You do, however, can just leave and go from all the exchanges that you want. It's up to you, right? Just understand that there's so many things going on right now. We have the World Cup coming up. Obviously, FTX Arena is gone, but I'm sure that there's people working there that never expected this. We are dealing with people's livelihoods right here. This is... A lot of us have money invested in these crypto exchanges. Then who are we gonna trust? Like you were listening to the guy who started really strongly, right? It's like withdrawing, and that's what everybody's saying. But understand that. I mean, it also puts us in a very shaky situation. Then Charles Hoskinson masterfully, right, explained things which I really adore. Everyone is here, but when you're putting a great product in crypto, when you're doing the best, not for money, but for the industry, you are gonna prevail. That is why when I look at Binance, I saw CC Live when I went to Consensus, and I'm like, man, these guys know what they're doing. Then I saw Crypto.com, all what they're doing so far with the advancements for crypto, the next billion users. Obviously, if you want 1 billion, you need marketing and advertising, right? That's one thing that, are you spending too much there? Well, what else are you doing to get more users? And we see all these countries, we see all these certifications, we see all these securities, we see all these approvals that further justify my position in this company. But what is best? To read through all those documents or go through a series of FUD? Obviously, that's what carries the most weight. But it is what it is, guys. Wanted to show you this right now for you. From everything that I'm seeing so far, family, it doesn't seem like we're going to get Chris or anyone from Crypto.com in the panel. It happens sometimes, but it is what it is. So far, 830 billion in market cap. Wow. Very, very low. I'm going to go ahead and bring my bubbles, see what it is. And I'm going to close this poll, guys. Let's see how we ended up. Look at this. Look at Trust Wallet. People are moving it to decentralized wallets. That's what they're doing right now. Moving it to decentralized wallets. That's what this means right now. They're withdrawing from KuCoin. They're withdrawing from Cronos. They're withdrawing from exchanges. They're putting it in this. It just makes total sense. It just makes total sense for people. And that's okay. I mean, like I said, if that's what you want to do, that is absolutely fine, right? I mean, nobody is going to tell you otherwise. Just look at this. The month, the day, Cronos really on the eye of the beholder right here, my fellows. But we've been here and we're going to prevail. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Family, this is what I wanted to show you. You can continue on the live. I'm going to go ahead and get some air. It's time for me to break. It's time for me to relax or so. It's Sunday for me. Going to church later on. I am grateful for a lot of things, and more than anything, I'm grateful for the opportunity that you guys provide me. You know, the Twitter, the YouTube subscribers are growing, and it's not because I'm saying $1 crow, $1 crow. No. It's just because I'm reiterating. You know, guys, everything that's happening in the industry, I love it. I think crypto will really come change our lives. Some are gonna be deleted with more regulation, but other ones like Binance, Crypto.com, Coinbase so far, which are doing a great job, everything seems very nice. I think they're gonna continue. But don't take my words, right? Go ahead and do your research. Please have a nice day. It's the weekend, and always have your priorities right. Thank you very much for coming into the live, my friends. I do appreciate your kindness. We had more than 1,000 people once again, so thank you very much for your kind support. What a blessing. And probably, well, today's Sunday, so I'll see you later tonight for our Sunday night live. It's gonna get pretty insane. Thank you, everybody, for an amazing support. Don't forget to smash the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for next time. And Cronos holders, if somebody has to stand up for Cronos, and that somebody, it's gonna be me and you. Peace, everybody. Thank you so very much. It's time. It's time, right? Gotta go, my family. Thank you very much, guys. God bless you all. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Take a look at the links down below. Get some free Bitcoin, free stocks, whatever. It's time. Any questions, let me know. And continue your research. Continue your research, okay? Always continue your research so you get better at this game. Thank you, my family. Blessings. Bye-bye. Thank you to all the moderators and all the donors and all the new subscribers. Welcome, guys. Appreciate it.